Okay, konbanwa, everyone. I decided to make this video to show you the basic order of Japanese and couple of the particles that we are learning. Because in your exercise, the kanji writing exercise, some of you seem still not understanding the basic order of Japanese. Okay, so the objective is that after this short video, you should be able to identify the SOV sentence or order of Japanese, and you can perform the simple sentence translation using the 4 easy step translation method that I come up to help you. And number 3 is that you can define the particles used in Japanese. All right, so basic word order. In English, we know it's the subject, verb, and object. All right, S, V, and O. All right, and the same thing as V and O. And apologize, that is OE. I'm still thinking in Japanese. All right, so first of all, you need to agree with me that these two sentences very different, don't you think? Right? I'm Ken, Ken is me. In fact, used to answer two different questions. For example, who are you? I'm Ken. And who is Ken? Ken is me. They're very different. So that's why subject different. The focus is different. So that's the SVO. But in Japanese, it's quite different. SOV. Okay. So 私は Ken です。Ken は私です。So subject here, object here, and the verb. Subject, object, and the verb. So that brings to our attention. Some of you still not 100% sure what is this and how to use it. It is a verb to be, like the be verb here in English. Without it, you are saying like, yeah, me can. Instead of I am can. All right, it's just a very informal situation when you don't use the desu. So you want to always have desu to speak the right way from the beginning. Okay, so SOB. And since you see that I here is the subject, can here is the subject, that's why I use this subject particle, the so-called particle, to tell people who is the subject of the sentence. Okay, so that's in Japanese, SOB. Now, what are the steps here? First, you want to copy the subject, switch the verb and the object. Now, word by word translating, and then put in appropriate particles and the verb tense. Okay. Some of I found some of homework that doing some very weird translation. I don't know where we get it, but you never want to do a full sentence translation on the use like for example Google Translate. Okay, likely get it wrong. But word by word, just get word definition is very good. Okay, so let's see an example here. For example, I eat apple. All right, so we do have a subject as I, and the verb is E, and the object. So you copy that subject for subject, switch apple and the E. Word by word translating, I type in Google, you get watashi. You type in apple, you get lingo. And then E, you get tabemasu. Now, step number 4 is the particle. So who is the action doer? It's I, right? So we give a wa to tell people that is the action doer. And the one being manipulated, the one that is the recipient of the action, we use in the particle o to signify the direct object. That's it. You complete. Oh, yeah. The tense is the present tense. Is present, so must present. So that's it. You complete the translation for easy translation. 私はリンゴを食べます。All right. It's very important. Let me illustrate here because if I have this sentence here, apple is me. Okay. It is authentic, grammatically correct sentence. Think about this when the kids are in Disneyland, when they see a huge apple monster eating a person, what's he gonna yell out? Apple is me, or is a person, right? So it's durable in English, and it's definitely durable in Japanese. But how I do it? Again, you copy apple directly, you switch me and e. Now you do the lingo, right? By word translating means watashi. And then e is tabemasu. Now who's the action doer? Of course, lingo. That's why you put one layer for it. And watashi, the recipient of the action, being manipulated, right? Being cheery if you want. All right, so O to signify direct object. All right, lingo watashi o tabemasu. That is exactly the opposite of lingo. Watashi wa lingo o tabemasu. Okay, so that is the basic word of Japanese, S, O, and B. All right, let me show you a quick example that we have in the exercise. This one. So you see, watashi wa sometime, right? I sometime drink coffee. You have to identify subject, the verb, the direct object. Another step we can put in easily is a free word everywhere in the front, as long as you have this drink at the end. All right, coffee. You do want to attach to the verb verb closely, because what if you put sometime here? Watashi drink sometime coffee? That's weird, right? Unless the coffee is a brand of sometimes. All right. So you do not want to put anything else in between coffee and drink, because it's a direct object. All right. But other than that, you could put everything in the front. Okay. Let's just do the same. So you have a watashi here, you put sometime on the second, cafe, kisaten, you put on the third, and then coffee, and then drink. Okay. So that is the idea. So there it is. And then you direct translating word by word. Watashi for I, toki toki for sometime. We learned the kanji already, so toki toki. And cafe is kisaten. You have that. Kohi is for coffee, and then drink for nomiwasu. Now the step number 4, put in appropriate particles. Why do we do that? It's a subject of the sentence who, I. So you have a wa. Toki toki is the adverb. Only change adverb is the only passive speech in Japanese. You pretty much do not need a particle. Okay, we'll talk about particle in a second. So kisaten is the day. Why? Because it's the tool that used to fulfill this option. Okay, that the book does explain that, so take a look at that if you're 100%. But for all our focus, direct object, for one being drinking coffee. So that's it, you have it. Like that is watashi wa toki toki kisaten de kohi o nomimasu. All right. Similarly, we have a second sentence here, subject, verb, and object. This one is pretty easy, simple, doesn't have that many things. So you have a coffee in the front, switch your 180 here, and your desu. Of course, it is, I just jump a step. So you have a coffee, 180, and I hope you understand, you know that number already, chapter 2. And is the desu. So what's the subject? Kohi wa 180 yen desu. All right. It's not a direct object. This is a linking verb. That's why you do not need the o at all. All right. You are not manipulating 180 yen. It's representing. It's a kind of just, it's a predicate, right? Coffee and 180 is kind of the same thing. All right, so you're not manipulating anything, so you don't need the particle. Okay, I hope that helps for full step translation. Any question, you should send me an email. All right, now here is the particle. Very, very quick. Particle is like the preposition of English, but we call it postposition because it's come after the noun. Okay, now instead of at home, we'll say home at in Japanese. All right, so particle wagamori are the 9 particles that you need to master for Japanese one. In order to go up to Japanese 2, you need to know this 9 at least. Okay, so wagamo are pretty much the only 3 subject markers. All right, I should say that the only one you can mark the subject of a sentence. Okay, you know the mo is also wa subject, ga object. That's also subject marker, but we'll talk about those detailed, the nuance differences later. But here, that's the subject. Then you have a deni A and then o no to. Each one of them has a different purpose, right? For example, A is pretty much like to. So when you have a direction, you're going from a place A to B. So any moving verb, like to go, to come, to return, to fly, to jump, point A to point B is ordered either ni or A always, all right? There is the tool to signify where the actions happened, okay? Eating, lunch, cafeteria. The cafeteria become the tool for you to do so, do the action. Reading in the library. Library will be the tool to do the reading action. That's why it's a toshokan de hon o yomimasu. All right. And to is the N, no is the apostrophe S, and O is the direct object. Tell you who is the bit. Like I say, to be manipulated. Okay. So book has a lot of good explanation there, but please do feel free to send me email if you have a question about particles, and they're very important. Particles is really a small grammatical morpheme to help us understand the entire sentence. Okay, these are the only 9 that you need to master in Japanese 1. Okay, lastly, I had to show you a kanji because we are talking about kanji right now. So somebody tell me what's this word? That's English, right? Yep, 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 yep. That is 1,000. It took you a second to realize it because you used to this kind of one dimension reading in English, always going like that. All right. But now the kanji of Japanese quite different, right? We put on top of each other. All right. So that is the word you learn. It could be ji, jiji, rokuji, whatever the time o'clock. It could be toki to represent time. All right. Those are the onyomi and kunyomi. You'll get to know a little bit more in the future. But right now is that kanji is written in 2 dimensions. Okay, on top of each other, just like the 1,000. I put it that way. It took a while. It took a while for many people. If you recognize it, good. Meaning you have looking beyond just English spelling. Right. So you see the sun here. You're gonna learn this word. All right. The Saturday you see on top of it, and that June is a Japanese inch. Okay, it's a measurement. So that basically saying the sun. All right, the sun is right there, and we have this Toyobi or Earth or the third sometime. All right, it go inch by inch around the sun to represent time. Okay, a little bit some idea about kanji. I hope this video will help you to understand the basic word of Japanese. Having the easy 4-step translation, you can pretty much translate anything. Simple sentence, of course, from English to Japanese, and then a little bit idea about kanji, okay? So feel free to send me an email and have a good night. おやすみ。さようなら。